Mic test, 1, 2. We're gonna go. Wow. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cookline. I'm Charlie, and on today's episode, we're gonna learn how to butcher a whole chicken. Why would you buy a whole chicken versus already buying the pre-butchered items? For starters, it's a lot more economical. I only paid $1.25 per pound for this chicken, and I get 2 breasts, I get 2 thighs, 2 drums, 2 of everything. And I only paid for 1 chicken. And to add to that, butchering your own chicken is a lot easier than you might think. The more you do it, the quicker you get, and the more fun it becomes. So let's go. So for starters, we're gonna grab some paper towel and dry off our chicken. And we want to be really thorough with this because a slippery chicken will be difficult to handle, and that will increase our chances of accidentally cutting ourselves, and nobody wants that to happen. So you're going to put some paper towel into the carcass like you just saw, because this will continue to release liquid as we cut. When I butcher my chicken, I like to start in between the thighs and the breast meat. So we're going to make our first incision here. Just get right through the skin. Even though we've got a sharp knife, I really like to minimize the use of it when I'm dispatching chicken. So as you can see there, I dislocated that joint, and I'm just using my knife to cut along this fat line. And if I feel any resistance, I'll back off and then rework my knife back into the flesh. Flip it around, and we're gonna make an incision along the spine. And we're just gonna feel our way through the chicken and make sure we're not cutting through the bone. And we only really wanna hit meat. As you expose the joint, it'll be easier to cut right through and then work your way all the way down the back. Leg and thigh, 1, and done. Let's move on to the next. Just like the first side, just cut right through the skin and then break that joint. You can see right there, these are the cheat guides that I use when I butcher chicken. Between every muscle group, you're gonna see that fat line, and that kind of tells you, like, cut right here. It's really hard to miss. Work our way through the meat very slowly, just using the tip of our knife. Remember, when you meet any resistance, you can just back off, find out where the meat is, and then glide your knife right through it. Next, I like to remove the skin at this point. And in doing that, it's gonna sound really weird, but it's like we're pulling a t-shirt off. So just work your thumb through between the skin and the meat, and then pull it right off. That way we can expose the backbone. And you can see all the connective tissue here. Right there again is the fat line that I talk about. And we're gonna make our incision in that area to remove our wings. I kind of work back and forth here. You guys can do one side if you like, whatever's most comfortable for you. Again, pop that joint, get your knife between, and just work your way through the meat. And around this backside, you'll see that fat line again that separates your wing and your breast. Run your knife right through, and it's clear. If you get any excess skin, just cut it off, put it to the side. Let's move on to the other wing. Same technique, right through the meat, in between the joint. And now we've got 2 wings. I'm gonna clean up a little bit. As things get slippery, don't be afraid to grab your paper towel and wipe off your surface, your knife, your hands, and anything that might cause your knife to slip. And the skin. You can throw this away. I like to keep it because there's so much flavor and fat in the skin. So now you're gonna notice this membrane along the chicken breast. You can use your knife just like this. I like to take a paper towel and just rip off that membrane. Don't get freaked out if you see this little worm looking thing. It's just a little bit of a connective tissue. It's on both sides of the breast, but on this side it looks like it just pulled off with the chicken skin. It's not a worm, I promise. Over here along the side of the chicken, you can see the fat line that I always talk about. So we're just gonna run our knife along that side and flip it around. Over here you're gonna run into some resistance, and that's the wishbone. We're gonna ignore that for now and just run our knife along the chest of this chicken breast. We'll do drawing-like cuts to separate the meat from the bone, little by little. Work our fingers in between the meat so that we can pull this chicken breast off of the carcass. It might give you a little bit of trouble, but just be patient with it and it'll come right off. There we go, first chicken breast off. Underneath the chicken breast, you'll find the chicken tender. And this is really easy to get off, just like the chicken breast. You're gonna work your finger in between the meat and the bone. If you meet any resistance, just be patient with it until it comes right off. If you need to use a knife, you can. And there we go, chicken tender. Now on the opposite side, we've got the other breast. And as you know, we're gonna cut along the fat line to separate the breast from the carcass. Still, in using our knife, we just wanna do short little draw cuts like this. Separate the meat from our carcass. And we're gonna use our hands to pull the rest off. Peel that breast right off. And done. That's your second chicken breast. Once again, the chicken tender, you use the same technique as the opposite side. Finger between the meat and the bone. There you have it, your second chicken tender. Now for this carcass, let's throw away our paper towel. You want to save it because it's got plenty of meat and so much flavor. We use that for chicken stock. Now let's do a quick inventory. We've got the carcass for soup, 2 chicken tenders, 2 chicken breasts. We've got 2 full chicken wings, that's the blade and the drum. Chicken thigh, chicken leg, 2 sets of those. And we've got some skin. And some more skin. Now let's move these aside and start to pack things up. Just gonna store this carcass in a freezer bag and move it aside. And let's go ahead and separate our chicken wings. Let's make an incision there on the skin, and again, break the joint. Work our knife in between. Careful not to cut through bone. There we go, 2 drums, 2 wings. Now we're gonna do the same for the thigh and the leg. Find that cheat line, give it a cut, break the joint, get our knife in between so we can separate that drum and the thigh. Cool, now we've got a thigh and we've got a drum. Repeat the process one more time. And done. Now, let's get ourselves a boneless chicken thigh. Right in here, you can see that fat line again. And we're just gonna make our first incision and work our knife around the bone, being careful not to cut ourselves. Just using the tip to make these slow, short drawing cuts. And we're gonna keep doing that until we know we're through. And off comes the bone. And there you go, chicken thigh. Cut off that excess skin and add it to our skin pile. Now this thigh bone goes with the carcass. Now with our second thigh, I'm going to use a different technique to get the bone off. So we make our incision with the fat line on both sides of the bone. And then I get my knife underneath, cut away from us, and separate the bone. Short drawing cuts, and then off it goes. I recommend using this technique because it's much safer. Okay, now that our chicken is fully butchered, let's put our section pieces into separate freezer bags. leg and wing sections all in the same freezer bag. Now let's clean up a little bit. Get these large chicken chunks off our cutting surface and our knife. Straight to the sink. Fill up a bowl with warm soapy water and a sponge. And let's start scrubbing. I was so excited to get cleaning that I actually missed some chicken skin. So we'll put that aside and scrub some more. Food poisoning doesn't just come from bad food, but also from poorly sanitized work surfaces. So really take your time and get thorough. Even my freezer bags I like to clean off. Make sure they're closed, obviously. Get in there and scrub thoroughly. And when we know it's clean, grab them and drop them in the sink for rinsing. Now with a paper towel, I first wipe off any excess suds. And then I make my way to the sink to wring out that sponge and come back with a fresh bowl of water. Let's make sure to get all that soap out because it could damage your cutting board. After we thoroughly rinse it, we want to thoroughly dry it as well. So it was that easy, guys. For $1 a pound, I got a carcass for soup, 2 chicken breasts, and 2 chicken tenders, 2 drumsticks, 2 deboned thighs, 2 sets of wings. Okay, that's a better view. You guys, that was it. We butchered a whole chicken. I hope you had a lot of fun because I had a ton of fun butchering it too. It was quick. If I didn't have to mess around with the camera, I probably could have finished that chicken in 5, maybe 7 minutes if I took my time. And I'll only get faster the more I do it. I promise once you cook with this chicken too, you'll notice the freshness and how much better that chicken will taste also. So that's the video. If you enjoyed and you want to see more stuff like this, give me a like and a subscribe, and then maybe even hit the notification bell so you get updates as soon as the next video is up. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next show. Bye.